another episode of the Cozy Cottage Crochet Podcast. My name is Hannah, and this is a podcast all about crochet, sometimes knitting and sewing, and generally just trying to live the yarniest life possible in St. Petersburg, Florida. How are you? It has been 2 weeks. I can't believe it's been that long already. I meant to record another Q&A video last weekend, but instead I spent the whole time crafting. So I didn't do it. So maybe next weekend I'll be able to get that out for you guys. I just want to say a huge hello and welcome to any new subscribers. If you are new around here or if this is your first time watching one of these videos, welcome. I'm so glad you decided to spend a little crafty time with us. And if you are a returning viewer, thank you so much. I have tons of things to show you and some progress on some stuff we talked about last time. If you would like to find me on the interwebs, I am the Cozy Cottage Crochet pretty much everywhere except for Ravelry. Ravelry is just the Cozy Cottage. Instagram is where I hang out the most. And in fact, if you want to know what I'm up to during the span between podcasts, that is the best place to follow me because I post all kinds of updates over there. I don't really have like a branded account. I'm not super concerned about taking like the most gorgeous pictures. I mean, I try to make sure there's okay lighting, but really it's just a chance for me to connect with people and talk to you guys. So that's why I love Instagram. If you have any questions or inquiries related to the podcast specifically, please do shoot me an email. That is the absolute best way to get a hold of me. It is thecozycottagecrochet@gmail.com. If you send me a message on any other platform, I will do my best to get back to you, but there's a chance that I may not see your message because there's a lot of ways. There's a lot of platforms. One announcement before we jump into finished objects, of which there are quite a few. The Love Yourself Cal is currently going on. We are halfway through the Love Yourself Cal. It's going to go until June 30th. So you still have time if you would like to join in and make something. There will be prizes. I will be making part of the prizes, so stay tuned for that. And basically, there's only one rule. The rule is you have to be making the item for yourself. You can knit it, you can crochet it, you can weave it, you can embroider it. You could even spin yarn as long as that yarn is going to end up as a project for you. And the reason that I wanted to do this crochet along is because prior to starting a podcast, crochet was something I love to do and I did it all the time, but I think I owned one crochet blanket. There was no other crochet in my house at all because I would only make things for other people. And that's wonderful, and gifting our handmade items is, I mean, that's a way we share our love with other people, right? However, we need to share the love a little bit with ourselves. So I really, this year in 2018, am focusing on making things that I can wear, especially cardigans and shawls and things like that. But if you are making anything for yourself, it counts and you can enter it into the crochet along. So show yourself a little love, make yourself something, use that special skein of yarn you've been saving, start the project that you've just been waiting and waiting to start. Do it. You're worth it. Okay? And go ahead and use the hashtag #LoveYourselfCal on Instagram. Join the Ravelry group. It is the Cozy Cottage Crochet Podcast group on Ravelry, and there's a chatter thread, which there are so many great photos of projects in there. I have added like a bunch of stuff to my library. When am I going to find the time to make all of these? I have no idea. But I have been so inspired by seeing all of the makes that you guys are making. Also, funny story, I broke my own rule. So in the finished objects thread on Ravelry, I have a no chatter rule because it messes up the post count. So if let's say there's 60 finished objects and people start complimenting everyone and saying, oh, this is so lovely, this is so great, it adds posts and then it takes away from the actual number of posts that are actual finished objects. So it makes it harder to draw prizes that way. So I have this no chatter rule, and then the other day I was in the finished objects thread. I thought that I was in the chatter thread, so I replied to like 6 people like, this is amazing, this is a wonderful project, and then I had to go back and delete all of my own comments because I broke my own rule. Anyways, go ahead and join the Cal. So many of you have already decided to join in, and I am just thrilled. So we have 2 more podcasts will come out before the Cal is closed. You have 1 more month. let's talk about what I am wearing. It, as I said, has been raining for 2 straight weeks. We have our first named storm of the season, quote unquote. I think it's Alberta? You'd think I should know this, being as I'm from Florida, but it's just a tropical storm and it's out in the Gulf of Mexico, so it's not actually gonna hit Florida. We're just getting a ton of rain this weekend, like we've been getting for the last 2 weeks straight, so I don't really understand what the difference is. Also, if you hear someone say it's our first named storm of the season, it's actually not, because the hurricane season does not start until June 1st. So technically this is a pre-season storm, even though it is the first named storm. The hurricane season runs from June 1st all the way to November 30th. So it's a little early. And you know, when you have a cold winter, you're gonna have a really hot summer. And the hotter the summer, the more hurricanes you will have, because basically, this is how it works. The warmer the water in the Gulf of Mexico and in the Atlantic, the more hurricanes there will be. So we already have one, but it's not really doing any damage. It's just rain. It's just raining and raining and raining. At this moment, it is not raining outside, but it has already rained this morning, and I am looking out the window. So I'm in my kitchen, so I can see out to my backyard, and I have this little avocado plant that my mom grew from a seed, and it survived the hurricane last year outside. So it survived Hurricane Irma, was completely fine. It is not surviving this rain. It was bright green and like growing a couple of weeks ago. Now it is brown and all of its leaves are pointing straight at the ground. Because my avocado plant is drowning in water, and there's no way for me to, I guess maybe I could like dig a little ditch or something. I don't know. I'm hoping it'll perk back up once it stops raining, but I don't know. Do you know anything about avocado plants? It's only about this tall, but it's planted in the ground. It's probably about 3 years old now. I was hoping that it would grow a lot this spring, because this is the first spring that it will be in the ground. It's been in the ground for about eight or 9 months now, and it seems like it's drowning. The grass, however, is loving the rain. We have a small forest growing in our backyard. However, we can't mow it because it won't stop raining. You can't really mow wet grass. It doesn't work so well. That's enough. That's enough chit chat, don't you think? I am wearing this week my Habitat cardigan, which is a free pattern by Make and Do Crew online. It is free on her blog. This is made out of Lion Brand Heartland yarn. I think it took seven balls, potentially. I think it took 7. And because I have 1 left over, and I think about 8 total. Yeah. This is the coziest. I have not pulled it out in a few weeks because it's very thick. Very thick and warm, but it's raining, so it's like the perfect day to wear this. I have like leggings on and like a super comfy t-shirt, and then this. So it looks like I'm putting effort into myself right now, you guys, but I am not. This dresses up my whole outfit right now. And after this podcast, once I get it edited and uploaded, I'm probably gonna go hang out at Starbucks and crochet. How trendy am I gonna be in this fancy cardigan? I really recommend this pattern. It was very easy, very intuitive. I love the finished product. It is super cozy. The only thing I left off was the sleeves. I did them, hated them, and ripped them off. But I don't feel like it needs it. It goes below my elbow. Without sleeves, you don't really need them. I also want to show you, one thing I showed last week was a finished project, but I had not been able to wash it, and it was made out of Lion Brand Mandala yarn, so it was still very stiff. So you could not really tell that how soft and drapey it would be. And it is my KELSEY shawl, which is a pattern that you can buy on Ravelry by Lacey of the Hooked on Owls podcast. If you've been watching for any length of time, you know who she is. This is her latest shawl design. And so last week I said I really didn't know how to wear this. I still don't know that I do because I'm not very good at wearing like asymmetrical triangle shawls. I'm thinking like if I got a shawl pin and just like pinned it like right here, it would be perfect. Because that's kind of how I would like to wear it, is with the point down in the front. but you can tell a huge difference in the drape of this and in the way that it's like folding and flowing. I threw this in the washer and the dryer. The best thing about Lion Brand Mandala yarn is it is 100% acrylic. It's super soft and it goes through the washer and dryer with no problem at all. So I used one entire ball. I believe it was the Phoenix colorway. I didn't write it down. The red in this is kind of, it's blowing out the camera. Maybe if I do this, that's a little better. All of these other colors are coming up pretty true. So it's a really, really easy meditative kind of crochet project. I'm really happy that I made it because it is exactly what I needed the week that I worked on it. I just wanted to show it to you since it was finished, but you could not see how drapey it was going to be last week since I had not had a chance to wash it. Are you ready for more finished objects? Because I have more. First up, what used to be living in this super cute llama bag. I actually made this bag. I had intended to make it for a prize, but I totally messed up the seams, which you can't tell from far away, but like right here, that is, and it's like backstitched and it's stitched on the other side. Now I could take a seam ripper to it and rip it out, but I don't want to. It's perfectly fine for me. I'm going to keep it. It's a sock-sized bag. It's got llamas on the front and it's reversible. So I take everything out of it. It's completely reversible and it's got this pink plaid on the inside. And so all of the seams are hidden, or at least they're supposed to be, except for this top seam. See, you can see how bad that is. That's terrible. It's supposed to have some top stitching that goes along right here and takes the place of whatever mess this is. So if I was feeling pink one day, I could have a pink bag. And if I'm feeling llamas, which I am always feeling llamas, I could have this bag. So anyways, there's not socks living in this. Let me show you the yarn. This is, I was using Patton's Croy. Patton's? I always say Patton's. And I thought that that was right, but if you've listened to Brittany from the Bee Hooked Crochet podcast, which is an audio podcast, she is sponsored by Yarnspirations, and she always says Peyton's. Is that right? Which one is right? I'm assuming she would know because she's sponsored by them, but I'm just gonna say Patton's Croy sock. This is their colorway Gray Marl. Look at this. What I made, I cannot actually show you in person because they have already gone off to their new owner. I had a request for a rush commission for a pair of lacy, kind of long hand mitts, like fingerless mitts, because a girl that goes to the same gym that I go to, I am always like knitting on my socks before the workout starts at my gym. And she asked me to make her some mitts because she is going to Scotland this week and it's like 60 degrees there apparently still. So she needed something to keep her fingers warm. So I did these in one day. They took about 5 hours. The pattern is called Fingerless Gloves. I'm gonna put it down at the bottom. I cannot pronounce the lady's name and I didn't write it down. I'm not prepared today. I just realized that I know all of the patterns except for that one, because normally what happens is I print them because I'm a very like paper person. I have to scribble all over them when I am doing the pattern, but because it was a rush, I didn't have access to a printer because I did them all in one day. So it took about 5 hours. This yarn, now I have worked with Patton's Croy sock before, like a greeny bluey kind, but this gray, oh my gosh, it is so sheepy. It smells so good. The pattern was very easy to follow. In fact, I liked them so much that I am thinking about buying one more ball of this and making myself a pair for work because sometimes it's really cold in my office. And they took about 75 grams, maybe, yeah, I would say about 75 grams. So a ball and a half of this Patton's Croy sock to make one set of the fingerless gloves. The only modification I made was that I added a repeat because she wanted them a little bit longer. And I'm gonna insert some pictures here of the gloves. I wish I had them to show you because They're so amazing. I highly recommend this pattern. It's free online. It comes in multiple languages. And so when I blocked these, you can actually put Cottage Crochet sock in the washing machine. I didn't want to do that. I just wanted to soak them. So I got out my wool wash and I soaked them in a bowl, and then I promptly forgot about them. I meant to only soak them for like 20 minutes. No, they were there for about 2 hours, maybe longer, until I walked back into the kitchen and I was like, oh. So I don't know if that made a difference or not, but I just squeezed the water out with a towel and then I laid them flat to dry. I did not pin them at all because they're gonna stretch a little bit anyways once they start being worn. They were so soft. Like, this yarn it's a little scratchy. I would not want this on my neck, I don't think. But after blocking, it softened up considerably. And it still had that sheepy smell, but like with a hint of lavender from the wool wash. I put them on just to like test them out and make sure. Oh, I really think I need to make myself a pair. And they worked up so quickly. And she loved them, and I hope that I get a picture. It's really exciting to think that something I made is gonna be like a world traveling mitts all the way in Scotland. So, oh, in case you wondered, this Cottage Crochet sock is 75% washable wool and 25% nylon. So that is finished object number 1. Finished object number 2 is a finished pair of socks. I know, crazy. I did not even talk about socks in the last podcast, so it's been a month since you've seen these. I am using Stylecraft Head Over Heels in the colorway Kilimanjaro. This is a 75-25 superwash wool and nylon blend. This is the sock that I had finished quite a while ago. It looks like it has a super long leg, but it really only comes like halfway off my calf. I wanted to just keep going and going to see how much of the yarn I could use up. What I did, this is the Sockmatician's Toe Up Sock Recipe. This is my second ever pair of finished knitted socks. So this is one. I did a 3x1 rib instead of a 2x2, 2x1? I think it was a 2x1 on my first pair of socks. I did a 3x1 on these. I like that much better, I think. This is the sock I finished just recently. So you can see my little llama corn stitch marker, which was a gift from Claudia of the Crochet Luna podcast. This is where I was a month ago. And the reason that I did not show these in my last podcast episode 2 weeks ago is because I only got about this far. I had done like an inch or something on it. And I don't know, just it came back to me, and I turned the heel, I did the heel flap. I didn't have any problems doing the heel flap or the heel turn this time. So if you are scared to knit socks because you think you're gonna mess them up, it's all right, it's fine. You're not gonna mess them up. And even if you do, it's just yarn, okay? You can always rip it out. But for me, I think this last sock is the most comfortable I've been. This will be the 5th sock total that I've ever made. And it went so well. I didn't drop any stitches. I didn't do anything crazy. I didn't have to bang my head and try to figure out the heel. Like, it's more intuitive now. I have the muscle memory. I know what I'm doing. So I did all the way up to the cuff. And I feel like you can even tell this is this cuff. This one looks better than this one. This is the first one. This one's a lot more even. The bind off looks kind of wonky. These have not been washed or blocked. I just bound them off a couple of days ago, and it's not laundry day until tomorrow. So I'm not doing laundry just to do a pair of socks. The bind off is so hard for me. I don't know why. I have a really hard time, first of all, doing it loosely, which is really important. And second of all, getting my fingers to do it at all. Like, really, I just need to practice. But basically in the pattern, the way he does the bind off is you knit one, you knit one, and then you knit another one, and then you knit both of them through the back loop into one. I don't know if that made any sense, but I could not get it to work. And the bind off on this first sock is like, it's a little tight. Now I can stretch it out, but it's not what I would want it to be. So on this sock, I had the brilliant idea to just bind off with a crochet hook. So I used I have like a little tiny crochet hook that is used for picking up stitches on knitting. So it has like a pointy knitting needle on one end and a little crochet hook on the other, and it's a 3mm. So there is already helping my tight bind off problem, because I knit these with a 2.25mm needle, and that's a 3mm needle. So automatically the loop is bigger, and it was so much easier for me to knit through the back loop with a crochet hook. So I just crochet hook bound this off all the way around, and it took probably 20% of the time that knitting bind off this. Was that even words that I just said? That it took me to bind off with a knitting needle on this first set. So I don't know, maybe that's a tip. If you find binding off really hard, at least for this particular bind off, I found that that worked. This is my finished socks. These are my Pippi Longstocking socks because I think they look like something she would wear. Most of the work on these was done at the gym. I would carry, because my sock bag is like super tiny and it just fits in my purse, which of course I have with me when I go to the gym. And before I start class, I usually have like 15 minutes every time because I'm a little early. So I just sit there and I knit on my gym socks. I have 16 grams of yarn left out of a 100-gram ball. So I could have probably kept going, but I was tired of knitting on the socks. And of course, once you bind off on the first one, you then can't make the other one longer because that would be ridiculous. This yarn was a gift from Charlie of the Love Charlie Crochet podcast, so I'm so happy that I got to use this in an actual pair of knitted socks, which is crazy. The yarn is a little interesting. I've never worked with this yarn before, and it is very sticky. I had a lot of tangling problems, not so much actual knots with the yarn, but because the yarn is so sticky, it grips itself like nobody's business, and I made the mistake of pulling from the center of the ball, and so the yarn, just from pulling the yarn out of the center of the ball, the friction made it like basically felt to itself. So I spent a fair amount of time unpicking felting knots from the yarn. So it's not like the yarn was tangled at all, it just was stuck to itself. So that's why I wound it up what was left, because I don't want that problem. Like even right now, like this is the end. This yarn I dropped on the floor yesterday. It rolled all the way across the floor from the living room through the kitchen, and it did not come undone at all. That's how sticky the yarn is. It just stays. Finished socks. That is finished second pair of socks for 2016. For 2018, I am 2 years behind. Okay, let's talk about my third finished object and final. Now this is I'm so excited about this. If you recognize this bag, it is my Key Largo lace wrap, which is my latest pattern design. I have finished it. It is using the Be So Fine 100% bamboo yarn by Kristen Amdahl. And this is the finished lace wrap. Look at this! Oh, I'm so happy. There is absolutely no way that I can get this whole thing in the screen because it's about 80 inches long. So it's 20 inches wide and 80 inches long. I can do this. It does look a little ridiculous over my Habitat cardigan, but who cares? So I finished it. This is my light fingering weight version. I actually finished this a few days ago, and I wanted to be able to get it out to my testers. However, I need to take some photos of it, and it has been raining nonstop. So last night, my husband and I ran to the beach, and there was about an hour window where it wasn't raining. So I got home, he got home off work, and then we rushed over to the beach, we snapped some photos, we left the beach, and I would say 15 minutes later, it was monsooning outside. So we've been trying to do this all week just to take some photos so that I can finish the pattern, and I finally have them. So my goal for today after this podcast is to finish the pattern, put the photos in the pattern, and then take a few little tutorial photos for one particular part of the pattern that I need to do that for, and then to get this off to my testers. I'm hoping to have this to my testers by Monday. And one person actually already has this, because I know she would have no problem with the mess of the pattern the way it's written now, because the written instructions are done, but the formatting is all over the place because I don't have the photos. I don't know how big they're gonna, how much space they're gonna take up. So this is the pattern. It's like a little tulip pattern over and over. Oh, I love this so much. I am thrilled to be able to get it to my testers in a day or two. A day or so. Man, I'm having language problems today. I wonder if it's because of the rain. We can blame it on the rain. That's a song, right? So once this is to my testers, then it'll be another couple of weeks. I'll get it off for tech editing. I'm hoping to have this pattern out by the end of June. And oh, I can't wait to actually wear this because I'm so happy with it. You could, I mean, because it's so thin, you can actually bunch this up and wear it as a scarf. You can wear it as a wrap. You can make this as long or as wide as you want. I have instructions on the pattern on how to decrease or increase the length, or decrease or increase the width. It's actually really simple. So this is the finished object that I am most proud of because that took a lot of time. Working with a light fingering weight is no joke. Let's move on to works in progress because I do have quite a few of those as well. The first one I want to talk about is, you can probably guess, the Crimson Hooded Crochet Cardigan by Sheba Guys, which is a pattern in 2018 Interweave Crochet Winter magazine. I have the magazine, but you can actually purchase this pattern on Ravelry by itself if you just want this pattern. This is what it looks like. So great. And I have actually made some progress. So the yarn that I'm using is the yarn that's called for in the pattern. It is called Haydenville by Valley Yarns. This is Webb's yarn. So I got this online. It's a 60% superwash merino, 40% acrylic. It is so soft. It has been such a joy to work with, and I am excited to show you this. So last time I had just endless rows of single crochet. I had 35. I needed to get to 55 rows before I could start any kind of pattern. And it has grown. So right here, this string, that's where I was last time. I had done this much. So I've added this much, and I have started the cable pattern. So there's two cables on the back. There's a big one and a smaller one. So this is like 8 rows of the first cable pattern and then just 2 rows of the second. It still doesn't look like much, but it's going to. There's 100 and, oh, that's something. I actually dropped a stitch somewhere or skipped a stitch. I wonder if I can find it. I don't know. I don't know if I can find it, but they're supposed to have 102 stitches and I ended up with 101 somehow. So I just added a stitch. I did find where I had actually skipped the stitch. I think actually it's right here. There's like a little, kind of like right there. You cannot tell from far away. So I just increased one on the same side over here. Now it's back to 102. There is absolutely no way I'm ripping out like 20 rows of crochet just for one drop stitch. No way. So it doesn't look like much has been done on that project, but that is quite a bit of time. And I would say that I'm about 1/3 of the way through the back panel because there's about 60 rows more of the cable pattern, and then there's probably another 20 or 30 rows of plain single crochet to make up to the back of the neck. So we'll see. I'll have some more progress next time to show you on that. Oh, working on it, I don't even want to speed through it because working on it makes me so happy. This is like my ultimate project in crochet, and I'm thrilled to be able to do it and to do it in the yarn that it calls for. So I've been taking my time and like really enjoying it. This is my project for the Love Yourself Cal. It will not be finished by June 30th. There's no way. But it is for me, and I am putting only positive energy into this cardigan. If I'm upset, that's not the one I'm gonna work on because I just want this whole thing to be an enjoyable experience. Next, I started something new. Living in this super cute bag that Clarissa Beth, who is Crochet Cakes, and Caroline, who is, I was gonna say Inspired Professor. She is that on Instagram, but now she has her own podcast called Mind and Muse on YouTube, which you should check out. They made this bag for me, and then I have these 2 enamel pins on it that Claudia from Crochet Luna sent me. And so every time I use this bag, it's one of my absolute favorites. I think about all 3 of them, and it makes me happy. So I've been wanting to start this for a while, another shawl out of the Shawl project book by Kat Golden and JOANN SCRACE. I believe this is book 3 of the Shawl project, and this is the one that I am making. It is the Wisteria Trellis Shawl by JOANN SCRACE. And basically it is a crescent shaped shawl. You do the entire lace border first, and then you go back and fill in the crescent with short rows. The yarn I am using for the middle part is gonna be this gray Knit Picks yarn, which I think is Superwash Merino 100%. It's gloss fingering. It's a 70% merino, 30% silk, actually. And I have 2 50-gram balls. It is gloss fingering colorway Hawk, and that's this gray. The yarn that I'm using for the lace border is Indigo Dragonfly, which is a Canadian company. Their chameleon sock. Oh, look at this green. It is 63% superwash merino, 20% cashmere, and 17% silk. And you get 400 yards for 100 grams. This colorway is called Big Ben, the British Peanut. I don't know what that means. If someone could tell me what that means, that would be great. I'm sure it's a joke, but I don't understand. So this yarn was a gift from Lisa, who is Key Alexandria. She sent me this as part of a gift Get Your Yarn Wishes Granted campaign that happened last year. I just wished for sock yarn in any color, and this is what she sent me, and I have been saving it specifically for this project. I wound it up, I think in December I wound it up, and it's been waiting for me to get around to it. So I don't have too much done, but I started. So you start right here, and then you're gonna work sideways. So I have done the setup rows, which is down to this point, and then 1 6-row pattern repeat. I love how it's turning out so far. It's a little scrumply, as most lace work is, so it's gonna need a good blocking, but like when you stretch it, I think that's gonna be great. So I have to do 36 more of these 6-row pattern repeats, so it's probably gonna take a while since I have so many projects going on at the moment, but I love it. I'm excited to be able to use this yarn finally, and I want to make all of the shawls in the Shawl Project book. And also, when Lisa sent me this yarn, she sent me these 2 teas, which I kept with the yarn. Most of the time if I get tea, I drink it right away, but I kept these with the yarn because I wanted to drink them while working on the project. And so now that I have shown them to you, I'm going to. So that is the work in progress. The only shawl work in progress I currently have on my hook, because what I'm showing you today is a shawl, socks, and 3 cardigans. I know. So let's talk about the next cardigan. This is living in my giant yellow tweed bag, which is by Knit It, Hook It, Craft It, the website online. The website is online. Oh man, what is wrong with me today? I just can't think of anything. This is the ENVISION cardigan by Heidi May. It is a paid for pattern. I am using the Lion Brand jeans yarn in the colorway Jumpsuit, which is this red. Last time I showed this to you, I just had part of the yoke completed. I have quite a bit more than that done because I have split for the sleeves. And now I'm going down the body. I'm about, I would say I'm like almost halfway or maybe even 2/3 of the way through the body. It says I only need 9 inches before I start the ribbing. I'm probably gonna go a little bit longer than that because I have a rather long torso and I don't like it when things are too short. I don't like crop tops at all on me. They just don't, they're not that flattering. For me personally, I know some people who can rock them and they look amazing. What you can't see in this is that I had to frog 8 rows of the yoke before I split the sleeves because somehow my stitch count got off by like 10 stitches. I finally figured out where it was and I had to frog 8 rows, which it was half a ball of yarn because the yoke is like, I mean, before you split for the sleeves, that is a lot of stitches on the yoke. So let me show you, I'm a little concerned that this is not going to fit very well. I'm gonna keep going because I don't have anything else that I'm gonna use the yarn for. But this is what it looks like so far. So it fits pretty well, but it's kind of big here. And I followed the pattern instructions exactly. These armholes seem huge to me. Like that seems really big. And I'm not sure that I love how this is bunching up right here. Now, this may work once it is washed and blocked out. So it may not have this weird crease once it's gone through the washer and dryer because it's acrylic, so it's totally going through the washer and dryer. It may just drape and hang much more beautifully. It is gonna have like an edging all the way around right here once it's completed. So I may like it more. If it still doesn't fit in the way that I love, if it's not like super flattering, then I'll just wear it around the house. I am gonna keep going though. I'm not gonna give up because I do like the fit through here. This is about how I would like my cardigans to fit. Not super tight through the bust area and then with just a little bit of room on the sides because I don't like things that are like super constricting, especially around my stomach area. Like I want it to be a little bit loose. So we'll see. I'm pretty happy with it so far. It's a very easy pattern. I'm just going round and round and round with half double crochets at the moment. So maybe next time I'll have the body completed. Who knows? It's not extremely portable at the moment because it's getting larger. Like I suppose I could take it to Starbucks or something like that, but I can't just like shove it in my backpack to go to work because it's too big for that. Ooh, I've been wearing this giant coziness for, you know, like half an hour now while talking to you guys and taking it off. I'm cold now. So it's because it's so gray outside. I love being cozy. I love this cardigan. Everyone should make one of these. It's my fave. Let's talk about, I have one more sweater to show you. This is my Blurred Lines sweater, which is a pattern by Deanne from ADDYDAE Designs. I am participating in her Blurred Lines sweater Cal that she is hosting in her Ravelry group. It's doubtful again that I'm gonna get this done in time because I have so many projects that I'm working on. I think her Cal is going until the end of June, I'm not sure. But I have done some work on it. It doesn't look like much, but it was quite a bit of time. This is the yoke. I have completed one round or one section of increases. So I did an increase row and then I did an additional 7 rows of half double crochet. And then I just did another increase row and now I have to do, I don't know how many more rounds of half double crochet. And then there's another increase section, then some short row shaping, and then I think you split for the sleeves. So it's, obviously this is the back because it's a little bit longer. So far I've been trying it on. It fits. I love it. It's super soft. I'm making this in Loops and Threads wool-like yarn in the colorway Cool Gray and Teal Lake. So whenever I get to start striping in the blue, I'm gonna be really excited. And I was gonna tell you something else about this, but I cannot remember what I was just going to say. So we're just gonna give up on that. Anyways, I'm really happy with it. I'm loving working on it. Like I said, it's fingering weight yarn, so it's slow. It's not flying off of my hook because it just can't. That's the way it is. But I think once I split for the sleeves, it's going to go a lot faster because there'll be, of course, less stitches on the needle. I love it. I love it. I love it. And it's living in my Halloween bag, which is my fave. Okay, one more work in progress to show you. And you can probably guess what it is because it is living in my sock bag. This is the bag that all of my socks live in. And yes, I have started a new pair of socks. Cast a pair off, cast another pair on. This I have actually been wanting to use for quite a while, if I can just find the tag, is Knit Picks Felice yarn. I've had this yarn since November or December. I did not know what I was doing at that time. I only bought one ball. So I have a 50-gram ball. I didn't understand, I guess. So I have 100 grams in another color, and then I have 50 grams in this. This is the Hopscotch colorway. It's a 75% superwash merino, 25% nylon. And I am fairly convinced that I can get a pair of ankle socks out of one 50-gram ball of yarn. Look at this. This has happened in 3 days. I am so thrilled. I'm really happy that I waited to use this Felice yarn until I had a couple of pairs of socks under my belt, because now I can really appreciate this yarn. I love the stripes. This is incredibly soft. Now I don't know like how well it's gonna hold up because it's merino, but it is so easy to work with. The yarn does not split at all, and look at the stitch definition. That's amazing. So, I mean, just this pink part right here, I did this morning before my husband got up. So I am pretty happy with this. I need to get to about maybe one more. I need to get to about here before I start doing the gusset increases for my heel. So I'm like almost through the foot already. And then as soon as I turn the heel and do the heel flap, I think after I start going around in a circle again after the heel flap, I'm gonna do the cuff like right then, because I need this to be like a short ankle sock to make, and I'm gonna weigh this as I go to make sure I don't use more than 25 grams of yarn. But I don't think it should be a problem. I'm really happy with this. I love the colors, I love the stripes. It's been an absolute joy to work with Felice. Does Felice come in solid colors? I don't feel like it does. I hope, if it did, I would buy sweaters quantities of it. That's how much I have loved working with it. Now I can't comment on how well it holds up because of course this is the very first time I've used it. But just from working on it with the last 3 days with this sock, I am in love with Felice yarn, and I can see why everyone raves about it. All right. I only have 2 acquisitions to show you, but they are both quite large acquisitions. One, I just dropped on the floor. Whoopsie. One of them I talked about before, and I showed it in the local yarn store day video that I made last month around the time of my birthday. This is my birthday yarn. It came in. I have 7 skeins of this. It is the Luette Gems yarn. It is 100% superwash merino wool. You get 175 yards per 100 grams, and it is the colorway Eggplant. And I have 7 of them. So this is my birthday yarn. I actually didn't end up spending too much on this. Excuse me. So if you remember the blue and gray poncho that I made quite a while ago as a commission, I have been saving what I made off of that specifically for a sweater's quantity of merino wool yarn. And so I had about $70 from that I used for this. So then out of my own budget, I suppose, I only spent about $35, enough for 2 skeins. And I am really happy with this. I do not have a pattern picked out currently. Originally, I was thinking about doing the Reminisce sweater or the Envision one, whichever one I just showed you with the Red Heart jeans. No, not Red Heart, with the Lion brand jeans yarn in the colorway jumpsuit. Whatever pattern that was, it's either the Envision or the Reminisce. I think it's the Envision. I was originally going to make that out of this yarn, but I decided I wanted to make another one first to make sure that I like it before I use this fancy yarn on a pattern that I don't like. So I am going to hold on to this until I find the perfect pattern. It may end up being that pattern, but we'll see. I have to finish that sweater first and see if I like it. So I'm very excited. I got this from Stash, a place for yarn, which is my local yarn shop. If you live in the area and you have not been, you should go. It's super. The second acquisition I have to show you is something I'm pretty excited about, but I don't know how exactly I'm going to show this on camera. I have to be very careful because it's really heavy. Okay. Can you tell what it is now? It is a sewing machine. This is, I'm gonna put it down because I am terrified of dropping it. This is a Pfaff. How do you say this word? P-F-A-F-F. I want to say Pfaff because that makes me laugh, but that's obviously not what it's supposed to be called. So I think it's Pfaff. This is a Pfaff Hobby 1142 sewing machine. This is a discontinued machine. It's been gently used, so I was able to purchase this from someone who had it. She was using it to teach her daughter how to sew, and I guess her daughter wasn't really that interested or maybe progressed to another machine, I don't know. So it's a really nice machine that has not been used much, and this machine is no longer in production, but you can still get all the parts for it and stuff like that because it's several years old, and it is a really good machine, at least from what I understand. I don't know too much about sewing machines, but I know that Pfaff is a fantastic type of sewing machine. So I was able to purchase this. I did sew something on it, which I then frogged with a seam ripper because my seams were all wonky, because this machine has currently one speed, which is racehorse fast. It is outrageous how fast this machine goes. So I ordered a new foot control for it because it's not how hard I am pushing on this foot pedal. It's the second that it engages, which is like right about here, it is off to the races. So it doesn't seem to have any, like the more you push, the faster it goes. It has one speed currently. So that tells me that there's something wrong inside. I actually tried to take this apart because I like to tinker with things before I buy something new, but I could not figure out how to get into this, and I was like, you know what, it's not that expensive to just buy a new foot control. Now, if for some reason it's not the foot control, I could just return it, but it's gotta be the foot control. Because I know, like, if you cannot control the speed of your sewing machine, you can always tape like a little popsicle stick or something to keep this from going down very far, but it's literally as soon as it clicks on, it goes insanely fast. Because it's a powerful machine. So that should be here in about a week, so I'm excited to get that. It has, can't really see, but it's got all these stitches. Ooh, I'm gonna put this back down. It has 26 stitches, so I was looking at buying a new sewing machine for about $160, $170. There was one that had been recommended to me, the Janome something. I can't remember, but like retail, it was about $160. I got this machine for $200. Originally, like at the time of purchase, it's probably like a $400, $450 machine. So that is a pretty good deal to me. And you guys should know that you are part of me getting this machine. So out of the $200, I spent $50 out of my budget. I had received a gift of $50 from my parents for when I graduated, and so that went directly to this sewing machine. And then I had $50 from the fingerless mitts that I talked about earlier in this episode. That went directly to this. And then $50 from my PayPal account. And so if you have purchased a copy of my Treasure Island shawl pattern, you are directly responsible for this new machine. So I just want to say a huge, huge thank you. I really appreciate it. You're making it possible for me to do exciting things. I really would like to get better at sewing. I want to make some bags. I want to make some skirts. This is my 2018 goal, and having a machine like that, I know this machine is going to last years and years. It was a fantastic deal. It has clearly been well loved. It came with all the original feet and everything, so I have like a zipper foot and a buttonhole foot and all kinds of things, extra bobbins. And I know this is not going to blow your mind, but I was very excited. I'm gonna have to stand up to show you. So you know if you're doing a bag, on the sewing machine that I used to have, you would go around and around and around, but you might have a hard time sewing a pant leg or the seam on something round. This comes off, and then you just have this little area, so you could just slide the whatever round thing you're doing, like a pant leg or a bag, on here with no problem, and just sew around and without having to fight with it. So I thought that was really cool. Now, the other sewing machine, that was my mom's old sewing machine, it still works. It's completely fine. I am 100% not getting rid of that, probably ever, because it has, I'm not very sentimental about a lot of objects, but that has a lot of, I'm like really emotionally attached to that sewing machine. So I think I will continue to use it now and again, and I'm definitely going to keep it. One of my first projects I think I'm going to make once I get the new pedal foot for this is a cover for the sewing machine to keep the dust off and keep it safe. So this is my very, very exciting second acquisition. It does 26 stitches, you guys. That is crazy. That's going to be super helpful because I really like to make some clothing out of like jersey knit and stuff like that, like maybe a skirt or a simple shirt or something like that, and I cannot do that with the machine, the old Kenmore sewing machine, because at the moment it only does one stitch in a straight line. It will not do anything else. So this one has 26 stitches, and it has the edge stitching that you can use as kind of a replacement for a serger, which I am not going to buy a serger, I don't think. The Janome machine that I was originally going to get, brand new, has, I think it had 6 or 10 stitches, so this one has 26 stitches, which is crazy because I only spent like $30 more on it than I would have on the new other machine. Now, of course, this one's gently used, and I bought a foot pedal for it, but it was worth it to me. There's something in my life that I have recently been coming to grips with, is that spending money on something that is quality and something that will last is worth the wait. Because I used to just buy things based on how cheap they were, and that's fine. However, there's something to be said for having quality tools. So I saved up for quite a while to buy my set of Clover Amour crochet hooks. I have one in almost every size that I would use on a regular basis. And those hooks are like $8–10 each. However, the old metal boy hook crochet hooks kill my hands. They're only like $1, which is fine. That's completely fine. And they had their purpose when I was first learning how to crochet. But having a tool that is quality and does a great job and that doesn't cause me pain or frustration is so worth it to me. So having a tool in a sewing machine that I know is going to last for years, be able to do all kinds of things, like be able to do way more than even I need it to do, honestly, is really worth it. I'm going to be buying a set of knitting needles later this year. Probably interchangeable, because there's a very specific project that I need to knit later this year. I can't crochet it. And I could start it now if I just would buy a couple cheap needles, but I don't want to do that. So I'm going to save up and buy an actual interchangeable set of the CHAWGU red lace circulars, like the whole set from tiny needles all the way to big needles, because it's worth it to have something that I can turn to and know that it's quality and know it's not going to cause me problems, it's not going to break, it's not going to cramp my hands, etc. So when I first got married, that was not the case. And I'll just give you an example. Shoes. I used to work at Payless shoe store, and I have like I had tons of shoes. Like I probably had like 80 or 100 pairs of shoes, and I never wore any of them because they were enormously uncomfortable. Especially the heels that I bought at Payless. Now I don't really wear heels anyways anymore. I kind of live my life in flat shoes, which, I mean, if you wear heels, awesome. I do not have the pain tolerance to be able to deal with heels all the time. But so I had all these shoes, and when I got married, my husband was like, oh my word, you have like a shoe problem. And he was like, okay, like I don't care as long as you wear them. Like if that's something you love and you want to invest money in and you're gonna wear these shoes, then fabulous. But of course I didn't wear them because they were all really uncomfortable. So over the last 7 years that I've been married, I have weeded out most of the shoes, the cheap shoes from Target and Payless and stuff like that that hurt my feet, and I have replaced them with nice, good quality shoes that will last for years. Now I still have quite a few pairs of Payless shoes, specifically the flip-flops and sandals, because those are just fine. But anything that had like a sneaker or like a heel, it just, I'm gonna tell you a secret. It won't be a secret after I tell you. I have fat toes. Like if you just look at my foot, you wouldn't think that I have fat toes. Like it just looks like a normal foot. However, I don't know if it's because, like, you know, a foot normally kind of goes like this. You have your big toe and then it kind of goes like this. It's like my little pinky toe is always getting squashed in almost every shoe. So I live in Toms. They're my favorite shoes because they don't squash my pinky toes. I love the Reebok CrossFit sneakers for working out in because they have a wide toe box and they don't squish my pinky toe. So pretty much every closed-toed heel, oh, it hurts so bad because I have fat little toes. I have little sausage toes. So that was a complete tangent. But basically what I'm trying to say is there is a time and a place for spending less money and getting a good deal, and you guys know that I love a good deal. I am all about the coupons, especially when it comes to yarn. I have absolutely no problem using acrylic yarn. I think it's fabulous. However, when it comes to the tools that I am using on a day-to-day basis, I think saving up and waiting until you can get something quality in your life is totally worth it. And this is part of loving yourself, right? I had a conversation with someone at the gym just recently who she had gone through this journey and kind of been on this health challenge and lost a significant amount of weight. And she was wearing some clothes that were too big for her when we were doing this particular workout, and her pants she kept like holding them up because they were about to fall down. And she was like, oh man, these pants are too big. Like I need to like see if I can get them taken in or something like that. And I just looked at her and I was like, you could just buy a new pair of pants. And she was like, oh yeah, maybe I'll go to the thrift store and just see kind of what they have. And I get that because I love thrifting. I don't want to spend money. Like that's fine. But I just looked at her and I was like, you know, you have worked really hard for this. She had met her goal. She really is not going to lose any more weight, I don't think, maybe a couple pounds. So it's not like she's in a transition phase where she's going to need to buy new clothes continually as she loses weight. She's kind of reached the end of that goal. So I just looked at her and I was like, you know, you can buy some new pants. Like, you're worth it. You worked really hard for this. You deserve to have clothes that fit you. You deserve to have clothes that make you feel awesome. You don't need to go to the thrift store and buy someone else's hand-me-downs because you don't feel like you're worth having new clothes. Now, if that's what you can afford is a thrift store piece of clothing, or if that's what you truly want is a thrift store piece of clothing, then by all means. I love going to thrift stores because I want more. I want more clothing for less money. And there's things I would never spend tons and tons of money on that you can find at a thrift store. I love thrift stores, but I knew that she was going to the thrift store because she didn't feel like she deserved to have a new pair of pants. Not because the money was an issue or because she didn't want to spend $30 on a pair of Under Armour pants. She wasn't going to the mall to buy a new pair of pants because she didn't feel like she was worth it. And that's the problem. If you're doing it because you want to, okay. But you deserve to have clothes that fit you. You deserve to have things that in your life that bring you joy and make you feel awesome. Life is too short to spend time surrounded by things that pull you down or that make you frustrated. So it doesn't mean that you need to go out and spend tons and tons of money. But if there's something that brings you joy, figure out a way for you to get it. For me, I knew that I wanted to buy a new sewing machine. For me, I knew that I wanted to buy a sweater's quantity of 100% merino yarn. Did I go out and buy those right away? No, because that's not in the budget. But I saved for them. I planned for them over time so that eventually I would be able to work with something that brings me so much joy. So this is the message of the Love Yourself Cal, really, the true message, not just that you need to make something for yourself, but that you're worth making something for yourself. You're worth the amount of time and the amount of effort and the amount of money in the yarn that goes into a project. For other people, you're worth that too. And we always are giving love to other people. We just had the fabulous knitted knockers, Cal, where we were able to send 126 pairs of knockers off to that organization, and probably more because I've gotten a few messages from people since then saying that they had finished their knockers. We were able to do that for other people, and we pack all this love and all this excitement and all this energy into touching someone else's life. But what about your life? You can make a difference in your life too. You can be kind to yourself. You deserve to be kind to yourself. All of this negative self-talk that we have with ourselves, we look in the mirror and we're like, oh no. We say all kinds of mean things to ourselves. Like, I would never in a million years say that to my best friend. And she would never in a million years say those awful things to me. But we say them to ourselves all the time. So if someone is being mean to you, yourself included, you have the right to put your foot down and say, no, I don't deserve this. I deserve love, and I deserve happiness, and I deserve to experience joy and peace and hope and excitement in my life. I deserve to go on adventures. I deserve to be surrounded by things that bring me joy. So I feel like I just got a little preachy there. But maybe that was for you today. I don't know. It's definitely something I've had struggles with in the past. So I hope that maybe you needed to hear that you're worth it and you deserve to be surrounded by things that bring you joy. Nice things, new things. Quick life update. We went and saw Star Wars on Thursday night. I am not going to say any spoilers, so don't run away from this video screaming, okay? I will not. I promise you I will not spoil anything. All I am saying is we went to see Solo, and I was quite skeptical of that movie. I didn't love the previews. I honestly didn't really feel like we needed a Solo movie. However, I must say that I loved it. It was fun, it was charming, it made me laugh quite a bit. Obviously, this is not a spoiler. Chewie's in the movie, obviously, because Han and Chewie are BFFs, and he was fabulous. I loved the way it ended. I really liked it. It completely blew away my expectations. Now, I don't know if that's because my expectations were low to begin with, but I really liked it. I think it's worth watching. And because we saw it on Thursday at like a fan event at the movie theater, we got some swag. So So I got 2 pins. One of them says Best in the Galaxy, and one of them says Never Tell Me the Odds. And then I also got these dice, which if you have seen The Last Jedi, the dice make an appearance. And it's a throwback to, they're in one of the originals. The first one, maybe? I don't know. One of the first original Star Wars movies. And so the dice make an appearance, of course, in this current movie, Solo. And so we got a pair of dice. So I have some buttons to put on my Star Wars project bag, which is kind of exciting. And it was just great, and I loved it, and you should go see that movie. And also, tonight, the perfect thing to do when it's raining and gloomy is go get a massage. I know. So our massage MV that's really close to where we live is like having a deal, basically. So my husband texted me the other day and was like, do you want a massage this weekend? And I was like, yes, obviously. Why would I ever in a million years say no to that? So we're gonna go get massages at 6:30 tonight, which is gonna be awesome. And then of course it's Memorial Day weekend. So if you're in the United States, Memorial Day is Monday. It's kind of a national holiday where we remember, and so it's got 2 parts. One of them is we kind of remember veterans and soldiers who have fallen in the line of duty or people who serve. And then also it's the start of summer, the official start of summer, pretty much in the United States. So a lot of people like have barbecues and all kinds of stuff, go to the beach. Unless you're in the service industry, like people pretty much have that day off. So I think I have that day off from work. We are gonna be going and working out in the morning. My husband wants to go to our gym, it's a CrossFit gym, and they're doing the Memorial Day Murph, which is a workout based on a soldier named Murphy was his last name. I think Eric Murphy. I don't know if that may not be right. But his last name was Murphy, and basically it's a really, really hard workout. And you're supposed to kind of do it in remembrance of him because he fell in the line of duty in Afghanistan. So I cannot remember the total workout off the top of my head, but I know it starts with you have to run a mile, and then you do, is it 100 pull-ups, 150 push-ups, and 200 squats, maybe? Something outrageous like that. And then you run another mile. That's not gonna go so well. I have a partner. My husband's gonna do the whole thing by himself because he's a beast. I am not. I am not a beast. So I'm gonna do it with another girl who goes to the gym. We're gonna split it in half. So we're gonna run half a mile each, and then we're gonna split all of the reps in half. So I only have to do 50, and obviously I can't do pull-ups. So I'm gonna do like ring rows. And I can't even really do push-ups, like full push-ups. So I could do the like incline push-ups on the bar. I can do squats though. Squat, squat, squat. And then we'll run half a mile. So we'll see how that goes. I may have to come home and take a nap immediately afterwards. But that should be fun. I think that's kind of all that's going on. The next podcast I may record a day or 2 early because the second week in June I am going on a missions trip with my church. Me and one of the other pastors are kind of leading that group. We're going to a place in Alabama, so that should be really, really fun. And we're leaving on that Saturday that I'll need to record a podcast, so I'm going to do my absolute best to get another episode up before then. But I think that's all that I have for you. If you like this video, do give it a thumbs up. If you would like to be kept up to date on any new videos that are coming on this channel, do hit the subscribe button down below, and that will notify you. Until I see you again, I hope you stay dry if you're in Florida, because it's insane around here, and that you have the best time with all of your crafting. Remember that it's just yarn, so if you have to frog it, who cares? It's just yarn. You can make something beautiful still. And please remember that you're worth it. You're worth being surrounded by things that bring you joy. I will talk to you in 2 weeks. Have a wonderful holiday, and I will talk to you soon. Bye!